What's up, Star Trek fans? No video today, so you're just getting some audio only. Also, I'm going to be doing a second video later today, but I did want to drop a little bit of a spoiler, quick thoughts type of video. And really because I'm not able to go into my little studio and record on my microphone, and I'm walking around with my phone in my hands. So, here you go. Episode 5 of Star Trek PICARD. So for that reason, I'm going to be later on discussing the thing in depth in a review, because I want to later. With that being said, I am just going to keep it really quick and simple here. I'm not yet sure how I feel about this episode as far as it being the best one, because I've heard a lot of people say this was the best one. And I don't know. For me, I really do think potentially 4 is the best. And I think each episode has an advantage because each episode builds off of the other one. And when more stuff gets answered and a culmination of questions and things are answered, it sort of it gives it an advantage, right? So episode 4 is the completion of the 4-part first act. So episode 4 is such a payoff that it's so good because of all that came before it, the little building up that happened before it. So I would have to say probably episode 4 is, I guess, my favorite. And I think episode 5 is really good as far as, you know what I mean, continuing and moving on to the beginning of the next chapter. So I think episode 5 is really good, and it's either my favorite or my second favorite episode, and I think it's my second favorite episode, but, you know, obviously spoilers. The fact that we get a Ensign Ro completion arc here, like, we get to see what happened, because I was angry at her in a way back in the day. When I was younger, I was actually mad at her character. I remember thinking, like, you know, what the hell is wrong with her? Like, she, you know, that's all I thought about was how she betrayed Picard and Riker, and I wasn't really happy with her as a kid, and I never loved her as a character either. I found her, like, kind of annoying, and so didn't my wife. So we didn't have as much of the, like, some people are like, holy shit, like, you know, Ro Laren's back, holy shit. Like, I was more like, oh wow, okay, that's kind of was my response to it. But in the recent years of the last, say, 15 years or so, probably going back to the year 2000 or the year 1999, when I popped in The Next Generation and watched the entire series again, you know, back in the late 80s and early 90s, I watched The Next Generation over and over again. And then probably from 1997 to maybe the year 2000, I took quite a break from watching Star Trek over and over again, but I went right back into watching it over and over again in the early 2000s. So when I first popped it back in again in the 2000s, being an older person, an older human, not a little kid anymore, I found Ro Laren's season 7 sort of betrayal and turning mutiny Maquis situation. I understood why she did it. Because, you know, she liked the people she was working with, the Maquis, they were sympathetic. That mentor guy died, and she watched him die, and she felt responsibility and connected, and they've essentially converted her to the Maquis. And you feel sympathetic for her character. It's almost like an Anakin Skywalker situation a little bit, but done somewhat better, actually. Star Trek doing the turn a little bit better. But so then I was like, oh man, you know, I feel bad for her. And so then in that episode around the age of 16 or 18, I felt bad for Ro Laren and was like, man, it's too bad we'll never know what happened with her, you know. And I always thought maybe she would show up on Voyager is what I thought at first. And then Voyager went, you know, away to never be found again. And I thought, okay, maybe she won't ever show up on Voyager. But I thought maybe Deep Space Nine or somewhere that Ro Laren would show up as, you know, and complete her story, or, you know, we would figure out what's going on. I thought that was actually part of why they did that in season 7, was to at some point revisit her in one of the other series. That didn't happen. And so for this to happen in season 5 of Picard, it was wonderfully used. It was so cool, like that they were able to bring her in. And in one episode, you have to literally be like, holy shit, Ro Laren, is that really Ro Laren? That could be somebody else. And then you have to go from being excited to see a character again, but you're also sort of disappointed at first because she's being so mean and grouchy. But then you realize it's because she's suspect of everybody being a changeling, and Picard is angry at her in a somewhat similar way that the audience might be a little bit angry at her. Then they have that sit down in the holodeck, and you find out it's really, the both of them really come out. And then you love her again, and you feel bad for her, and you feel bad for Picard because of what happened. And do you remember the stares on Picard's face when she left and disappointed him in that season? He looked like his Christmas had been stolen. You know what I mean? And so this was really well done and emotional. And then just as you're like, oh, she's on our side, she's on Picard's side, this is cool, and you start getting into it, all of a sudden she's in a situation where she's got to sacrifice herself because she's about to die, and she's killed. And it's like, wow, all of that in 1 hour episode, you know what I mean? I mean, take that, Icheb, because that was the side character that got a amazing death scene that Icheb didn't get. Ro Laren just got an epic sort of conclusion to her story. Icheb got I'm so glad that I wasn't spoiled on this episode, and there's a reason I wasn't spoiled. Well, I won't say why but I just say that I'm thankful that I wasn't spoiled, because, I would have been spoiled. So I'm glad I wasn't spoiled, and I saw this immediately. And so I have so much more to say about the episode, obviously. Worf and Raffi scene was cool. It was very Ninja Turtles-like. My dog's flipping out. She's like, who are you talking to right now? I'm starting to freak out. My dog is literally freaking out. The Worf and Raffi stuff was wonderful. My wife thought Worf was going to die. And she goes, if Worf fucking dies, I'll kill somebody. Like, my wife was losing it during the Raffi and Worf scene. There was the Romulan bad guy was so bizarre, the way he was speaking. Or I guess he was a Vulcan, actually. He was a Vulcan bad guy on Metalis, right? And I think my wife was going to kill Terry Metalis if Worf died. But that was so well done with with Worf, being stabbed by Raffi. And, they obviously had, whether they planned on, here's if we get no trouble, here's how you can stab me. Here's how you can kill someone. Or maybe they both just understand that, dude, my dog is like, why are you talking to the wall? What the fuck is going on? I'm freaking out. But yeah, so that scene was great. I really thought it was well done. I bought it, and I loved that scene with Worf and Raffi. And the fighting scene was cool, them practicing and shit. What else is there? There's so much I'm going to leave out. That's why I'm going to do another review later. But then later, just skipping ahead, the mystery that's going on is cool. What's going on with Jack? I'm really starting to wonder. Someone said she knows what Jack is, and why on Beverly's ship are they playing logs? Why are there logs, captain's log of Picard playing on Beverly's ship? And that makes me wonder, like, somebody's a changeling or something, because changelings don't know enough about people, right? That's the problem. That's how you spot them, is they don't know enough. Like, Ensign LaForge, the changeling played her, and all she knew was, oh, Joey LaForge is my amazing engineer dad. But she didn't know the little intricacies of 7 of 9 being called 7 versus Commander Hansen and whatever else. So I'm like, all right, are they trying to learn about Picard and the backstories? That way they have that information so they can pretend to be someone. So it's really kind of tipped me off into thinking, and maybe this isn't true at all, but it really, why else would Beverly have Picard's captain's logs playing over and over again on that ship? It makes me think like Jack and Beverly, or one of them, or whatever, somebody isn't who they're supposed to be, But is it that simple that someone's a changeling and just trying to learn about Picard on that ship? I don't know, but I'm very worried about spoilers. I also saw someone the other day wrote two things in a chat room. So you guys got to be careful here on YouTube, because I've seen people write stuff on chat rooms that from episode 5, 2 episodes ago, from episode 5, and from something that I believe could be from episodes 6, 7, and 8, and one thing that's from episode 7 that I confirmed with somebody else because I was like, hey, this is being said in my comment section. And then I basically gave that person mod access to my channel and said, if you see something that is a spoiler from somebody, can you delete it? Just go. And he's like, yeah, I'll go over them every day. I do it on my channel too. And that person has seen apparently the whole season. I have not. So I was like, I don't even want to know if it is or isn't, because I don't want to be spoiled. But I'm already worried that I'm getting spoiled on some things from some weird assholes out there. And by the way, how weird is that, man? That some people actually got access to this, and that there's some rogue person out there, I think, doing that. Or maybe it's someone who's just saying guesses everywhere, pretending to be spoiling. I don't know. But that's what sucks about waiting week to week. No doubt about it. I just feel like, I just hope I don't get too spoiled here by some dickhead. Because I've already seen it. And one of the people I know is not, I know they're really doing it because I confirmed it with somebody else. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that person confirming it, confirmed it for me. So, but I had to know so I could delete somebody. But now I know something that's happening coming up. But I don't know if some of the other things I know. Anyway, the bottom line is the episode's really fucking good. What a fucking great job that this team has done so far. And I feel like the show keeps getting better. And its rewatchability, I've noticed, has been really good. That's another thing about this. But at the end, obviously, we lose Ro. I love that she hands off her Bajoran earpiece, and it's got all the spycraft on it. And normally, that's something that Picard picks up on. Picard would be like, she gave me this, there's got to be a reason why she gave it to me. I wonder if, you would think Picard would figure it out. But he's also still in a bit of a state of shock and grief. And why isn't Riker? Didn't he bang Ro once? I mean, shouldn't Riker have been crying a little bit? But no, so Riker figures it out. He's like, he immediately figures it out, and they're like, we've got all of her spycraft stuff on here for all the proof and all her investigation. And I love that, how it tied into Worf and Raffi, who were in trouble trying to make a contact with their contact, who was Ro. And then up comes Worf, and there's Picard and Riker, and he's like, hey, wow, what the hell? And where's Ro? And great. What a great fucking tie-in. Everything makes goddamn sense, mostly. Unless you're a psycho fuck on Twitter who's looking for fucking pictures in the background, who's like, fucking people are losing their minds because this show's so fucking good that people don't know what to fucking complain about. So they're on fucking Twitter complaining about fucking a promo picture of Guinan and Picard and a painting, and they can't just fucking, I don't know, dude. You know what it is? It's PTSD from Picard season 1 and 2. Since in Picard Season 2, they called 10 forward before 10 forward was ever 10 forward on a spaceship, and that doesn't make any sense at all. Everyone's looking for all these little nitpicky failures, and they're not really getting it because the team that Terry Matalas put together knows a lot more about what the fuck they're doing than anybody else did that worked on anything Star Trek Picard. That being said, let's hope Akiva and Kurtzman like what they see, and Terry Matalas gets to do more, because this is so much better than anything else. If you had, dude, can you imagine if you had 7 seasons of this? You know what I mean? Even if Picard, doesn't really show up at all anymore, much at all, or once in a while showed up as an admiral to say something or do something little, and it was more Riker, and this world existed already. I can see this Star Trek world existing. I mean, they've already proven that you can do crime drama Star Trek. You can do sci-fi Star Trek again. You can do aliens Star Trek again. You can do mystery Star Trek again. You can do show of the week episodes again. I mean, I don't think I like Strange New Worlds a little bit. I think some people hate it and some people love it. I think it's certainly better than Discovery. I think Strange New Worlds is like a 6 out of 10 show. I mean, after the 10 episodes that I saw, I found 2 or 3 of them to be rewatchable and fun to watch again. You know, I think, and it kind of reminds me of the original series, because the original series is like that for me. When I pop in the original series, I skip a lot of episodes, but there are some that are just absolutely awesome that I love from the original series. And part of that is, you know, the date and, you know, the campiness and how old it is, you know, from my perspective at this point. But some episodes are just so good. You know, I'd say probably like half the first season, I would watch half the episodes from the first season. The first season has like 20-something episodes. So if 3 out of 10 to me are really pretty good Strange New Worlds, I mean, that's much better than before. But I would say with this PICARD series, these are not standalones, really. These are continuations. And this is the first time that I've ever loved... This is the first Star Trek, besides... I did like some Enterprise. I did like some of those continuation episodes on Enterprise. But this is the first time in, you know, New Trek that I've enjoyed watching what's going to happen next week. What's going to happen next week. And I think that's because of Terry Matalas's team knows how to write TV. You know, he knows how to write TV. He knows how to get people that know how to write TV. He has a game plan, and he's got a team that's good. And to me, that's what it is. And it's from, you know, it's the directors, the composer, the writing team, the people all working on the show. It's not just, it's Terry Matalas, but it's a group that wouldn't exist, you know, if they weren't all cohesive like they seem to be. And that seems to be what it is, a good team working together on something. As opposed to in the previous seasons, it felt like anybody and everybody slurped into one fucking drink of shit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that the people that worked on seasons 1 and 2 are stupid or they don't, you know, whatever. But whatever they were doing, they weren't in sync. And the show, you can tell they're not in sync because the show is fucking bizarre, you know? And incoherent in many ways, wrong in other ways, and not entertaining week to week. This show is. So, anyway, that's my quickest review. I'll do a longer one later. Episode 5. Can't wait to see what happens in episode 6. I hope it doesn't get spoiled for me. I'm sorry you had to listen to me on this shitty recording instead of, you know, on a studio mic, but I hope you enjoyed this anyway. We'll catch you guys later on, potentially tonight. This is Star Trek Late Night. You can follow me here, sub me here, or you can sub, if you're a wrestling fan, sub to my bigger channel, Joe Cronin Show on YouTube. It's all about mostly wrestling, sports, and other things. But right here for more Star Trek. And you can follow me on Twitter, I guess. My producer has a Twitter account. It's not mine. Leave a comment, and I'll catch you guys later. What did you think of episode 5? Was it the best episode of the season, or was it not? I am on the fence about if it's better than 4, but I really, really enjoyed it. And so far, every episode has my full attention, unlike any Star Trek has had in a long time. It's really good TV. I'll catch you guys later.